Hey, welcome to drinknectar.com. I'm your host, Josh Wade, and this is the internet's place to explore the 5 senses of coffee and wine. Tonight I'm excited because I get to introduce to you a brand new winery in Spokane, the 17th winery to enter the association, to enter the city, and I'm going to present to you the first formal review of 2 of their 4 wines that they have in the lineup. So we're introducing Overbluff Cellars. They're going to be having their grand opening on Memorial Day weekend 2010. But this upcoming weekend, if you're watching this before Mother's Day, a spring barrel tasting weekend, they're going to be presenting their lineup at Hotel Luso, which is across the street from the Davenport Hotel on Post and Sprague, I believe is the general vicinity there. So you can find them there Friday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So be sure to check them out. We're going to review 2 wines. Both have a glass enclosure. The first one is their Vixen, which is a 2009 Viognier. I'll provide some details about these wines in the notes for the fruit, the vineyards, hopefully as much oak information or fermentation information as we can find. The color on this wine is extremely golden yellow, yellow brick road type color in there, and some killer legs. Which I think is a result of the high alcohol on this one. I'll share that here in a second. But let's give it a sniff. Alright, so it has a great nose. Very aromatic. A lot of white wines can be challenged in this department, but I'm really excited about Viognier lately. Especially Viognier from Washington. But you've got some great melon components, a tuberose, which is a flower, some floral components in there, and just a subtle hint of that heat that you're getting from that alcohol in there, so that perfumey kind of heat from the high alcohol content. Let's give it a sip. Okay, so the wine has a couple things that are going well for it, and then one thing that unfortunately is throwing it off for me in the end. The things that are going well are the flavors. The flavors are freaking fantastic. I mean, you have that a sweetness, a little bit of sweetness on the front, like some baked sugar and cinnamon, in the pan where you're just getting it to caramelize. And you've got that melon component in there. This is all very good mouthfeel for about 3/4 of the way in there. On the back end, still good acidity. I mean, you don't want, I want a white wine that has some good acidity, but this one's kind of ripping. It rips your tongue off a little bit in the back. And unfortunately, the misfortune of this wine is the high alcohol content. It's 16.5% AVB, which is pretty over the top for even a red wine, even a big fruity red Zin that can be pretty high in alcohol. So be careful if you're drinking this. It might knock you on your butt pretty quickly. But for me, it's just my personal tastes. Many people might be put off a little bit by that heat as you're swallowing it. Just kind of heats up your throat a little bit. So let's move on to the next one. This is their Duality. It's a 2007 combination of 2 Walla Walla Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. Bright, deep purple in there with some great violet tones towards the edge. It's about 60-70% opaque. Almost can't see all the way through it at all. Let's give it a sniff. Alright, so this is a good, excellent cab. An example of why Walla Walla cabs are just the tops across the state consistently year in, year out. Excellent fruit forward, some cherry and blackberry, just bright in there. It's not sour. It seems very lively and youthful. And just hints of chocolate and oak as it finishes off in your nose. And maybe just a little spice. Not a ton. It's not overly spicy like you can get with just some big bombastic cabs, but it seems like it wants to come through. Let's give it a sip. Okay, so here's what I'm picking up on this wine from this sip. A couple things. It needs food, and it needs to be decanted. It's a young wine. I would love to see people buy it, lay it down for a few years. I don't think it's going to happen. People are going to be excited to pick it up and try it. So just as a warning, you've got that fruit that comes forward. It's beautiful. It's elegant. But almost immediately it's overtaken by the tannins and the mid and the back palate, so that stuff that kind of makes you want to chew your tongue a little bit, tartness that a lot of people associate with a dry wine, but it's actually the tannin from the skins of the grape that are on there. So What needs to happen is once it lays down in the cellar for a few years, that'll soften up, turn into a little bit of sweetness, and the wine will become a lot more smooth and a lot more mellow. So in order to combat that now, make sure you serve it with food. Like we had a great red pasta dish and some garlic bread with it tonight, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. It complemented it wonderfully. The acidity on the back end washed things away. It made the dinner much more enjoyable. So that's my recommendation for you on this wine. So overall, great effort on the cab. Can't wait to share some of the other cabs that you have out there. Overbluff Cellars. You guys are doing great. I'm excited to have you on board here in Spokane. I hope you guys go and check them out for Spring Barrel Tasting Weekend and also for the grand opening. So cheers and drink happy.